Hey, everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of Geeks from the Multiverse. Geek culture has given us some of the greatest movies, games, characters, and franchises ever created, but it's also given us some absolute fucking disasters that we apparently are supposed to pretend never happened. So today we're honoring both the legends that deserve a permanent place in geek culture and the shit that deserves a plaque for completely different reasons. So let's get geeky.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Yo, everybody. This is your boy John, a.k.a. Captain Lestache. And as always, with me is my co-host over here, Mr. Grumpy Bird.
What's up, everybody?
So, yes, today we are going to be talking about a few things. But first off, this Hall of Shame and Fame, okay? This is where we'll say this real quick, is it's going to be a very interesting one because, of course, Matt doesn't know what I chose and I didn't know what he chose, basically. And we're going to debate about that stuff because there really is some interesting topics, or like, I know there's so many that we could say, right? We could definitely talk about all of them.
There's a lot, yes.
But I mean, we're trying to figure out which ones we think could be, at least that like should be in the permanent, like in both
At
sides.
least this episode. I
Right,
mean,
at
maybe it's something that we can always add to.
Oh yeah, we
later
can
on.
definitely keep adding to it,
Yeah.
absolutely. But we'll at least start off with that. But yes, of course. So today, we're really going in, really picking our four like Hall of Fame picks as well as our shame picks. Of course, like I said, Matt doesn't really know what I chose, and of course, I don't really know what he chose. But again, judging by our normal conversations, there's a pretty good chance that one of us questions the other's intelligence before we're finished.
So
Because
it's
that's
always- I
so
feel like that's every episode.
that is pretty much every episode. But yeah, so before we go any further, so I'm going to do our CTAs like we normally do. So again, we're going to do our fist bump here, follow, interact, subscribe, tell your friends, and again, let everyone know, especially that homeless guy across the corner on the street there. But again, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok. Well, actually, I'm going to phrase that. We're trying to be more on TikTok here and there. But yes, again, you can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Facebook. Working on trying to get us more on Instagram as well. And again, let us know how we're doing. You can always send us an email, send us a message. I know Jeff hasn't responded to a lot of our stuff in a long time. But we used to call it Jeff's Corner, but guess what? We're hoping that it's the fans' corner, so that way we can actually get more people to respond to us too. But yes, I figured we'll kind of dive into some geek news.
Yeah, well, I did want to talk about GamesCon because it's usually a pretty big event. It's happening. It actually starts on the 24th, but I think opening night kicks off the 25th, which is Wednesday. But I did, just want to talk about some of the games because I feel like there's a lot of games coming. Like, I feel like a lot of these games, though, John, like are like revivals or remakes or reboots.
I mean, like actually, I know there's. I'm gonna kind of jump ahead a little bit, but like Crazy Taxi, I remember back in the day. And I mean, it was the weirdest, dumbest game you could probably play. And literally, all it was is you were a guy who's driving a taxi and literally running people over. It's almost like GTA, but in like
Yeah,
taxi
except
form.
you're a taxi and you're just picking fares up and trying to drop them off in the craziest world ever.
Right. And it's like, like that one, I'm surprised like they even want to do a remake. But like, another game that and it's kind of weird about this whole cross gaming platforms now. So like Fable. I mean, I loved Fable, and especially on Xbox, but like the fact that they're making a new one and then they're allowing PlayStation to, have access to this as well. I'm actually surprised because I love that game so much that I was like, man, I really wish they would have came on the PlayStation, but it was only an Xbox exclusive.
Yeah.
And so kind of like,
I've played Fable 1 and 2.
well, that's what I mean. I love the game.
I did love the game. I love the concept, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is really like considered a reboot because I feel like this one is a new story.
Well, I thought it was supposed to be kind of like I originally thought they were supposed to just kind of go back to where they were in the beginning, like the first Fable, and just kind of like have it more remastered and like have it maybe like a different concept, maybe. But I mean, I remember in that game where you could literally buy a house, get a wife, and like I don't know if you can have babies in the game or not, but like I think you could. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, but like you could basically have your own little mini world in this like medieval, house basically, and doing basically whatever the hell you want. So I mean, I'll be surprised on how they do it. I mean, I saw some of the like just like the what was it the cover, and I don't know if they showed any gameplay before. I don't know if they did, but like I'm hoping that it's going to be as close to the original as you can get without
Yeah.
it being too much.
I mean, obviously, the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 will probably take
Oh yeah, it'll take
the
precedent.
like the center stage, but I mean, some of the other ones. I mean, we have Gears of War E-Day, and yeah, I mean that one. I mean, they just did a Gears of War like kind of reboot, like remastered.
Right, and I mean Gears of War. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do like the game, and I mean it's like if you took basically Halo.
This is a prequel.
Oh, was it a prequel?
Yeah.
But like I'm thinking even Gears of War back in the day, where I mean, like it was fun to play with your friends. Like I mean, it definitely gory. Like there's no doubt about that game. I remember Gears of War being very gory, very like, like yeah, you got to do right. There's always yelling in the
Well,
game.
they had the chainsaw assault rifles.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, we have Gears of War, Alien Isolation 2. I'm gonna skip that one because we'll talk about it in a minute. Final Fantasy VII Revelation, Star Wars Zero Company. That's a single-player turn-based tactical game set during the Clone Wars. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Songs of the Past. It's a expansion for Witcher 3 because The Witcher is already a game that's out. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. Ace Combat 8. I feel like they could have stopped maybe at like 3, but hey, that's just me. Halo Campaign Evolved.
Which that one I am looking forward. I have actually told you that I think we should get it, but then you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to play it.
Metro 2039. We got Mega Man. I almost said Mega Maid. I don't know why I'm thinking Spaceballs. But Mega Man Dual Override. It's a new Mega Man that Capcom's like. Obviously, Mega Man. It's like the classic.
I mean, they keep making games for that,
franchise.
though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that it's not popular, but I
Yeah.
mean, where do you cut the line off? You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be popular. I mean, especially if it's like a Switch thing too. I mean, if it's on Switch, I could see that
Well,
being like a popular thing.
It's kind of like, what was it, Metroid Prime? Like Metroid in general. And like, that's
Yeah.
kind of how it reminds me. But
Turok is the other one. Turok Origins. It's a revival. So yeah, I mean, I played Turok back in the day, but for me, like I really am interested in Wolverine. I know it's probably just that single player like Guardians of the Galaxy was, but
I mean, well, hold
it
on.
looks interesting.
I mean, to me, I feel like it's like when you're mentioning Wolverine, I'm thinking of the fact that when you played Spider-Man 2, you're like, can we have enough fucking goddamn cutscenes? I mean,
There's going to be a shit ton of cutscenes.
This one's going to be a movie basically at this point. But I agree with you. I mean, when you look
and somehow his suit heals.
in the game,
People were like, people are bashing it because they're like, why does the suit heal?
it shouldn't heal. It should be tethered and wrapped, and everything else like ratty. But like, no, I agree that with Marvel, it's funny. Like, don't give me a Spider-Man with claws. Logan should feel heavy, violent, brutal, and permanently pissed off. I mean, in this story, I mean, if it's not telling, I'm hoping it's kind of like an origin story, in that sense, because that's what it really.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's an origin story, but it obviously puts Logan front and center. It's supposed to be more violent, more mature, but it's Wolverine battling through. Some of the locations are Canada, Japan, Madripoor. That's kind of weird. Anyways, and he also encounters characters like Sabretooth, Mystique, and Jean Grey in the game.
Well, that's good. At least it's following suit with what it should be.
Yeah.
No, and like, because that one I agree. Like that one's a game I definitely wanted to play and definitely want to do that. Because I know Matt, when he was playing Spider-Man 2, he was like, or let me rephrase this. I told him a while back, I was like, man, you should really get Spider-Man 2. He's like, nah, I don't want to get that. And then he finally got it. And then he's like, fuck. It's like, he's like, I like the game, but I hate the goddamn cutscenes.
Yeah, you play for 2 minutes and then you watch for 35.
Yeah, right. And
I was like, why did you spend 400 hours playing Spider-Man 2? Well, because 300 of them were movies.
And the 100 hours that I was actually playing. No, but I agree. I mean, we'll see how Wolverine's going to do. I think it will definitely be a game where, because if it's, I believe it's the same people that made Spider-Man, like and Spider-Man 2 in that sense. So it should be
Insomniac.
Yeah. So it should be a really good game in that sense. But
So basically, it's 80% movie, 20%
game, yeah. And then you have to collect, but instead of like, like the Spidey backpacks and stuff that you had to get, it'd be more like you have to find the claws or like find something stupid like
And
that.
they're going to be, oh my God, they're going to be so fucking stupid. Like, you're going to have different claws, and they're going to be like, one has like serrated edges, and one's like longer. It's like, can we not do that?
Let's just keep it original, okay?
Can we just keep it? I mean, just make them have different suits, sure. But do we have, like,
Do
you
we
don't
need
have
to
to
have
change the
different claws?
claws and shit. Like,
Oh God, I know. We'll see.
did you
we'll
get
see.
the electric claws? Get out of here.
Is there one that blows up? Wait, what? Why are we blowing up claws now? I don't know. No, I feel like a lot of these games too will definitely, whether they hit or not is a totally different story. I mean,
And these are some of the bigger names as far as like what the games are. There's a lot of like smaller indie games, and
well,
like the I've seen videos of it. The Skeletor running mobile game. That's one of these.
That's a game that's in there.
That's one of the ones that's going to be at Gamecom that they're talking about. Yeah.
I would have thought they would have also talked about like God of War a little bit more too, because that is a bigger.
I didn't see
franchise.
God of War on the list. But you can check it out. I mean, the site is gamescom.com, so you can check it out for yourself.
But yeah, I mean, here we go, man. I guess the question is, do you want to go first or do you want me to go?
Well, I mean, I feel like maybe we can just talk about, I mean, I know you briefly talked about the main topic and what we're doing, but maybe just talk about what we're doing, and then I can go first if you want me to.
Sure. So like I said, I mean, really what Matt and I are doing, we picked 4, we'll call them nominations, right? So we picked 4 nominees in each category, whether it's like someone who is extremely, like, I'll say it for like New Englanders out there, it's like wicked pissa, okay, for like this Hall of Fame here. And then basically for the Hall of Shame, we tried to pick the most terrible, bad, why did they ever make kind of like people? It could be, again, so the categories really doesn't matter. So of course, like movies, TV shows, characters, video games, could be game consoles. I mean, pretty much anything you can think of in geek culture, but just like we chose what we thought were the best 4 in each category.
Yeah, so I mean, I we chose 4, and we're not just we're not just naming a few things and being like, yeah, I think PS2 belong. You actually have to make like a good fucking case, like why you love this thing, and that's what we're doing. So I am going to give you my first one, John.
Now, before we go real quick, are we doing like you do one, I do one, or am I doing like you do all 4 and then I'll do all 4?
Why don't I do all 4?
Okay.
Unless you really want to talk individually about them, but
That's up to you. That's why I figured I'd ask you.
why don't we swap off?
All right.
That
so
way
do
there we
one and
can
one.
that way there we can talk about the first one, and then you can bring yours, and we can.
All right. That's
Yeah,
fine.
I think if I mention them all, then we just have to talk every single, and it'll get confusing.
Right. So that's fine. We'll switch.
We don't want to confuse the 7 people listening to us.
Yes, I know, especially in Ireland. No, I'm only kidding, but go ahead.
All right, so my first nominee for Hall of Fame is the Mass Effect franchise.
How am I not surprised, man?
Not
Not surprised at all.
So I think for me, like why this belongs is because it's my favorite example of what happens when a game actually makes you give a shit about the universe that you're playing in. Like the Reapers, the Citadel, all the different species, the politics, the history. And BioWare makes these games. But they didn't just give you levels that you play through. They built this massive sci-fi universe. Granted, the one that they like, Andromeda, kind of sucked. But the original 3 were really, really great. And they've just built this like sci-fi universe that when you played the first game, it's the only game that I know has ever done this, where you take your actual saved character and you transfer it to the new game. It's like the only game where you can actually customize your Commander Shepard.
Right.
You can make him look exactly how you want him to look, whether the look matches the actual voice, which is always the problem. You make this like weird looking shepherd, and it's like that voice does not go with the body. But you customize like your shepherd, and then when Mass Effect 2 came out, it was like, oh yeah, you can port over your save, and that exact shepherd that you designed is in the second game. And then when the third game came out, you could do the same exact thing. And it just kind of built that. And that's what I really like. I mean, you also get the characters. I mean, Garrus, Tali, Liara, Rex. I mean, some of these guys, they're not just random characters. They're people that you argue with. You can have romances with all of them in the game. You actually can. You can
He's
actually
like, guess
have,
what? It doesn't matter whether you're bi or not, because you can do anything you want.
you can have, you know,
Well, wait, is it like Master Chief? No, I'm joking.
that was a war crime, but
I'm just kidding. I'm just
that
kidding.
was a war crime. These are probably war crimes too, but hey,
Yeah, whatever.
you know, he's a specter. So that's, you know,
So
he
that
has-
makes it different,
He
right?
plays with different rules. But yes. And I think you know, when you look at Mass Effect 3, the ending of it really pissed everybody off. Like, the franchise isn't perfect. Obviously, you can look at Andromeda and be like, the graph goes up, and then Andromeda just like it crashed. But it was just a game that's iconic, and it did something that I think no other game has done to this point.
Well, I know you and I have talked about this before, but I mean, I know Matt would agree that, you know, if Far Cry could follow suit with Mass Effect in the sense of, you know, you can just transfer saves and, you know, make it easier for yourself. I mean, I agree with you that I feel like, especially games where, you know, you can take your save, move it on to the next one, keep going. I wish games would do that, especially in like, you know, like let's say Spider-Man or like, you know, some of these like other games that are really
Yeah.
good, but like you can move all that stuff. Like you can create kind of that unique person.
And it wasn't just like you brought your save and you're like, oh yeah, I can use the same exact shepherd. Like the choices that you made in Mass Effect 1,
Right.
immediately when Mass Effect 2 starts, you have this like discussion in the game where they're bringing up like your history.
Right.
And it's your exact choices that you made from the first game. And then when the third game, it was the same exact thing. Like they set your history and it's like they're talking about the choices that you made in the previous games.
Right. And I feel like you're right. And that's what made, I think, Mass Effect really do well is because you have the option to choose whether it's like, you know, the good or bad choices that you make. And then, you know, you're all those consequences that you have, especially like going into further games, whether you kill people off or not kill people off or, you know, save somebody, not save somebody, this and that. It's like, you're right. I feel like there's not a lot of games that do that. And it makes it harder where, you know, it's almost that expectation. You really want a lot of these games to follow suit what Mass Effect did, and especially where, you know, if you want it to be like an iconic game, like I don't know what the hell I just did, but like gaming franchise, right? But like
That was like scat.
I was like, no. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on here. No, but I agree with you. I think the franchise is definitely iconic, and I think it does deserve a place in the Hall of Fame. And I think I wish you would see more games that would do that because honestly,
Yes.
I don't know. I can't really disagree with that because I do agree that there needs to be that expectation. I feel like through all different, you know, games and even like, you know, video game like companies in general. I think they need to follow that suit.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3 actually did have a multiplayer. Was it perfect? No, but I played the crap out of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. And it was honestly really, really good because you could choose some of these other, you know, species of aliens and you had different classes and you could do different things. And it was basically like, I guess, zombies where you had 10 waves that you had to survive and each wave got progressively harder. But once you got to like wave 10 and you survived, like you would win the match.
Well, it also reminds me of
But it was co-op.
So what was that? Back for Blood. Not quite like that, or like
Not quite. I think the Call of Duty Zombies is probably the closest because it was like, you know, you have 10 waves and you basically just are going into the match, and you're just battling through like wave one, it finishes wave two. You're just battling through these like whatever if it was Reapers or if it was Geth or whatever the enemy was.
Right. Okay. All right. So like I said, I do agree with the choice. So I guess we'll see if we agree in the next few spots here. But I'm gonna start off because originally this was my number 2, but I'm gonna start with this one. So we'll call it my first pick for the Hall of Fame is ready, the PlayStation 2.
Wow, I was joking earlier.
I mean, you were joking, but I really was serious about this. So
I don't think I've ever played a PlayStation 2.
So the reason why I will say the PlayStation 2, because especially like growing up, like that, I know my brother and my dad have said that we've had a PlayStation 1 and this and that, but I have a lot more memories on the PlayStation 2. And I'll say this. And the reason why is because like if you look at the gaming console itself, and especially like the sales that it did, I mean, this was the one console, and this actually held the record for so many years. Like it sold, I think it was like 200 million units or something like that. I mean, it was one of the highest selling gaming consoles. I don't remember the exact number, but it held the record for a very, very long time. And so, basically it really helped define, a generation, like like gaming part, like especially in the early 2000s. So again, you get like GTA. So like when you're talking about like San Andreas or Vice City or, some of the earlier games in that time, like that, like both Matt and I agree. We both loved San Andreas and Vice City. Like it was just like that was a part of it. And so again, another one, Metal Gear Solid. I mean, that was also a big one.
I played the shit out of Metal
Right.
Gear Solid. Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, God of War was another big one too. Final Fantasy. Don't get me started on that one. Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's another big gaming franchise that, and it's still going on. And they're actually making a new one now that I'm thinking about it.
They're making a movie, I think.
Are they making a movie?
It's either a movie or a series.
I think. Well, no, I know they're making another game.
They announced it at the D23.
Okay. Well, I know they're making another game. I didn't know if they were making a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, they're making like a live action.
Oh boy, that'll be interesting.
Like I said, I don't know if it was a series or if it was a movie. I think it was a movie, if I'm being honest.
Interesting. Okay, well, I'll have to check that out later. Another thing too, which was surprising, because I'll mention the rest of this in a minute, is SOCOM. So SOCOM was interesting in PlayStation 2 because SOCOM definitely had interesting things in the game where basically you could, as long as you had a headset, you could actually tell the guys in the game what to do. So you could be like, hey, move left.
I do remember that.
Yeah, like you had to have a headset, but it was one of the very few games on that console that actually allowed you to do that. And it was very interesting in that sense too. But like you had Gran Turismo as well. Ratchet and Clank was one of my favorites. Jak and Daxter. Tony Hawk. Oh my God, the series, like all those games coming up. Oh, I love the shit out of those games. And then actually another one was WWE. So like all the like SmackDown, here comes the pain, and like
I loved Raw versus
SmackDown,
or was it Raw's War or whatever like that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, I mean, but that's what I mean. Like all these like really came. I'm not saying from this one, but like, so it's funny.
Is that also Twisted Metal or was that an earlier console?
No, well, so I know PlayStation 1 had Twisted Metal. I think PlayStation 2 also had Twisted Metal. So like I know the first couple PlayStations had them, but I know that I think the first couple might have been on PlayStation 1, but I think Twisted Metal did come out on also on the PlayStation 2. But I mean, let me just say this: the library on the PlayStation 2 was fucking ridiculous, right? And so, and I'll say this: like I remember as a kid having, I kid you not, Matt, over 100 games, literally stacked. And I remember this, and my dad and I and my brother, we would all play it. And I mean, man. I remember the goddamn, memory cards that you would plug in.
Oh yeah,
and different colors. So like both, like myself, I had a blue one. My dad had a black one. My brother had a red one or whatever. And we all like, we'd share like our memory cards and shit. We put it in, and I remember like all the different saves. And it was funny because like you look at like how much memory you would take off that. It was only like like a kilobyte. Like, like these memory cards might have 8 gigs on them, but you're taking kilobytes of space for these saves and stuff. It was just, again, it's crazy to look at that versus like now where, if you're playing, let's say Call of Duty on the PlayStation 5, you're talking 250 gigs easily just for the game.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, so especially with PlayStation 2, right? So it also arrived at exactly the right time for DVDs, right? So for plenty of families, the PS2 wasn't just a gaming console; it was also became a DVD player, right? And basically an entire entertainment center sitting underneath their TV. So the reason why I would say it deserves its Hall of Fame recognition is um, right, is like Sony basically said, here's a game console, a DVD player, and enough games to completely destroy your social life. Right? I mean, it literally there was so many freaking games, I can't even name them all. I know we were just talking about a few here, but I just remember, like I said, having this big old stack of games, and we would never honestly get bored because my dad every week would just go, buy new game, buy new game, buy new game, and then after a while, we looked at this thing, and I was like, how many fucking games do we have? I mean, we're talking piles of games, and
Did you ever use the Game Shark 2?
I know what I know what you're talking about. I don't think I ever did, but I know exactly what that. It was basically like a cheater.
Well, I mean, the original ones like that were for like earlier consoles was the Game Genie.
Right, but it was a way to cheat, basically.
Game Shark 2 was a cheat code disc.
Right.
And you basically put it into your PlayStation 2, and then you would select the game that you wanted to play.
Right.
And then it would prompt you to put the game disc in, and then you would, you would play the game, but you would be able to unlock like infinite health or max ammo.
Right. It was basically It was basically like if you instead of like going on CheatCC, it was just an easier way to go on there and do it. I know exactly the fact that you said that. I was like, oh my god, I haven't heard of that in such a long time. But for me, like I said, here's the thing. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I know a lot of people will say the PS2, it's been up there when it comes to being one of the greatest consoles ever made. I would say, like, if we're talking about sales, I would say it's definitely in the top 3 of all time because of how many people bought it, how many people saw the amount of games that you could have on a console. Because I'm not saying that Xbox didn't have that kind of system, but PlayStation just dominated in that time frame, and they just kept making games, doing all this, and like I said, I don't know what else I can say, but I mean, literally, I feel like PS2 was like it was honestly, in my opinion, probably one of the greatest because of that, because of all that, and you're not having to spend so much time, worried about space, because the games were so basically tiny, and you didn't have to worry about 250 gigs for one fucking game now, and you have to let me delete 5 games so I can play this one game real quick.
Yeah.
I mean that's just me, but I know you want to move on to your.
All right, so my number 2 for Hall of Fame. He is, I think, outside, I guess, of Darth Vader, but
oh boy,
I think he is one of the most iconic Star Wars villains for me.
Yeah,
and this is Darth Maul.
Okay,
and when you first see him in Phantom Menace, it's funny because he almost has no dialogue.
Well, that's
in
the
that
problem.
movie.
Well, the problem with him is that it was also very short-lived, and that was the shitty part. Is you wanted to see him more.
Yeah, I mean, he basically. It's funny because he shows up with Satan with a double-bladed saber, right?
Yeah, basically.
He fights Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and then you hear that Duel of the Fates music, and it's real epic scene.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like even if you probably didn't know Star Wars, if you heard the ba 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 ba, you wouldn't know, and it's but it is.
Yeah.
But it's so iconic, and I don't know. I agree with you. I mean,
and then he gets cut in half, and then it was like, oh, I guess it's over.
Well, then, and of course, when they made the animated series,
right, and then you have Clone Wars and you have Rebels, and they took this character, even though he already had this really cool design. I mean, it was like the red and the black, the little tiny horns that crowned his head.
Yep.
The double-bladed lightsaber. I mean, you took this character and you threw him in and you gave him a whole new story arc. I mean, his hatred for Obi-Wan, it just consumes his entire existence. He takes over Mandalore. He builds this criminal empire. He does end up dying in Obi-Wan's arms. But he moved from just beyond this, he's a really cool Star Wars villain that could have easily had a one movie or half a movie arc, right?
Right.
To having this like rebirth as who he is now. I mean, there's a whole Star Wars just released a whole animated mall series just on his character.
I really wish they would have kept him like
What was it Sam Witwer, right? He does the
yep.
yeah, he does the Darth Maul voice.
Yeah, because I know the original actor that I don't think he would be doing it now. But no, I really think, especially with Darth Maul, I really wish he would have been like, instead of Palpatine, I really wish he would have been the one to take over.
Yeah. I mean, if you took this new Maul series, I feel like that could have been like George Lucas's kind of vision.
I wish
I
that
think
was.
I think it kind of takes place in a different time, but you could easily take that series if you made it live action and put it right in there.
Right. And I mean, even if he was like in the behind the scenes, like in the, of course, 4, 5, and 6, right? He could have been behind the scenes, whatever he's doing, but like you could have had him in 7, 8, and 9 easily.
Easily.
But I know they.
I mean, Obi-Wan did kill him though, so.
I mean, I get that, but I mean, wait, didn't we have this discussion before where, he was supposed to be technically the godfather of crime and all this other crap that he was supposed to be in, but no. Who fucked it all up? Matt? You know the name.
Well,
Kathleen Kennedy fucked it all up.
I mean, there's probably more than just her.
Well, no, but she's definitely the face of that.
She's definitely the face of it, yes. But to me, I do think Darth Maul is in this category because, especially, I mean, if you excluded Clone Wars, I don't think he would be. He wouldn't be quite the character he is right now.
No,
without that story of, him having the spider legs and then seeing the Night Sisters, where they kind of give him like more of a robotic kind of legs, but. I mean, he's wielded the Darksaber when he took over Mandalore. I mean, just the story is just it's so cool to see.
Again, man, I really wish we could have saw him in more of a live action side.
Yes.
But again, we all know they fucked that up. So
I digress.
I know. So yes, you know what? Since you mentioned a character, I know it's actually one of since I've already mentioned it already. So my next nominee for the Hall of Fame is Spider-Man.
Not Spooderman.
Not Spooderman. No, and so I was originally I was thinking about Cap, but then I'm like, if we're talking about,
I'm honestly shocked that you did not pick.
I know, I was thinking Cap. But the thing is if we're talking about the level of impact, I would say Spider-Man definitely has had more of an impact in comics and everything else, then I'm not saying Cap hasn't, because I love Cap. But if we're talking about Spider-Man as a whole, I feel like there's a lot more that has been seen and done and everything else, where Cap, unfortunately, is, because of the MCU and like the earlier stuff, it hasn't been much of an impact. And I hate saying it like that, but it's one of those things that I wish you would see more of Cap, but like, it is what it is. But anyways, with Spider-Man, right? So, because I would say my second favorite is honestly Spider-Man. I love Cap and I love Spider-Man. But the reason why I would say Spider-Man gets in, right, is because he's one of those characters who has completely transcended comics, right? He's been in comics, of course, cartoons, movies, video games. There's so much toys. There's memes about him. I mean, the guy is fucking everywhere, right? And multiple generations have grown up with their own version of Spider-Man.
I mean, you wouldn't have Spooderman without
Well, that's true. Those Spooderman. or like, I remember I think it was in one of the newer animated series, like he goes, instead of living in New York, he actually goes to Boston. And they call him, hey, Spider! Hey, Spider-Man! Or like some stupid like that. And I was like, no, please don't. Let's keep him where he's at. That needs to stay right there. So, with Peter Parker, right? So like what makes him different is like he has these incredible powers, right? He's still dealing with money. There's school, there's jobs, relationships, family, and trying not to disappoint everyone around him. He's basically dealing with normal life while occasionally getting thrown through a building by a psychopath dressed like a goblin, right? And so, when you look at the character, I feel like it's like almost like Batman, right? Because there's so many villains that are recognizable in his universe. and like some of the crossovers that he does, and like of course like with X-Men. And
We're gonna talk about that in the next episode.
yeah, I know I'm not gonna go any further than that, but I mean it's
Yeah.
just like, there's so much that Spider-Man does that he's just, again, when you start to see him as a kid, right? He starts out in high school and he does with all the shit. He does stuff in college, like, and then of course he's an adult. So you get to see this young kid grow up kind of like right before your eyes. And I know Stan Lee really has a soft spot for him, but like, I feel like with Spider-Man, there's more relatability, right? For a younger crowd or even older, because then you see this shift wherever he's at. And like, even the villains, man, I mean, Doc Ock, Vulture, Green Goblin, was Electro, Sandman. I mean, I could probably go on, like Scorpion, Kingpin. Like you have all these guys, and then the fact is like the amount of fucking crossovers this guy does. Again, he goes with Daredevil, he goes with Punisher, he goes with X-Men. It's like every fucking superhero or anti-hero really like knows Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like nobody, you can't tell me you don't know who Spider-Man is, but like they've all
forgot one of the bigger crossovers,
I was
which
also
was
going to say,
Venom.
I was going to get there. Okay. And I also know Blade is another one that he does. But that's what I'm saying. Like he has so many people that he teams up with or he does things with. And it's like, you can't tell me you don't know who Spider-Man is. And I mean,
not to mention X-Men too. I mean, he's done so many X-Men.
Oh, crossovers, right.
Yeah.
And plus with Doctor Strange. And I mean, of course, with Iron Man, like, I mean, literally the dude has been everywhere. It's not like he hasn't just stood only in New York. He's like, nope, I'm going to go everywhere, wherever the fuck I can. And I mean, when you also look at his costumes, right? So I know when you're playing like Spider-Man and like Spider-Man 2 and stuff, holy shit. The amount of costumes you can get in that game and the amount of like shit you can get, like the different.
And some of them are really dumb looking.
Well, they are dumb. But I mean, but it's interesting because like, again, and then when you have like, I'm thinking of the what is it? It's the new animated Spider-Man with Miles Morales and whatever. Like you know what I'm talking about. So like when they have the multiverse of Spider-Man, like Spider Noir and like 2099 Spider-Man or the Unlimited, right? So there's just I don't know. There's so much about this guy that I feel like everyone can look at him and say this is a likable guy. I think he makes things interesting, and especially like I said, he's like the Batman of like iconicness, because like you just know a lot about him, and so when you're also looking at like real, kind of like the people that have played him in like live action wise, right? So you have Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom, Holland in this sense. These three have different interpretations of this particular character, but without losing the basic idea behind him. And somehow Peter has super strength, spider sense, and genius level intelligence, but still can't pay his fucking rent. But he can still manage to save an entire city. But that's probably the most realistic thing Marvel ever created, right? Because he's a kid. It's I mean, granted, if you're looking at Tobey Maguire, he doesn't look like a kid. But I mean, yeah, it's just crazy to look at how how each version has their own like uniqueness about him. And so like, like Tom Holland, I would say out of the three, sure. Like if we're talking about accurate age and stuff like that, I would say Tom Holland's probably the closest. But if we're talking about like maturity and this and that, I would probably go with Tobey Maguire. In some ways. I'm not saying always.
Yeah, I mean, I did like, and Andrew Garfield's.
No, I did
Spider-Man too. Yeah.
I mean, they all have their own unique version of it, and that's where I'm saying is like you can still, and this is the crazy part. When you look at Spider-Man as a character, right? So like when we say Wolverine is Hugh Jackman, you can say that all three of these were Spider-Man.
You could.
Very few characters I feel like can say that they can have multiple people play him and still say, "Yep, you were Spider-Man." Or no, actually, it was this guy who was Spider-Man. No, three people. There's you can't tell me there's been a lot of these characters that have had multiple people that have done a really great job with this one character, right? Because like if Hugh Jackman said, "Yeah, you know what, it's okay. We're gonna have Will Ferrell play Wolverine," I'd be like, "You're gonna do what now?" I'd be like, "No, get out of my fucking face! Don't."
Maybe the Cavalry.
Right, or I would honestly say even Tom Hardy would be the only other one I could think of. But
maybe.
I'm just saying, Spider-Man as a whole, I absolutely think he should be up there when it comes to like Hall of Fame.
All right. I got another character for you.
Yep,
But this
go ahead.
one is a particular actor and the character.
Okay.
Because honestly, there have been a shitload of Jokers.
Yes, there has.
And I'm not necessarily like referring to any of the animated, like I'm not talking about people who have done voiceovers, because I mean we could easily mention Mark Hamill, voice of the Joker, is probably up there in that Hall of Fame consideration, but I am going with Heath Ledger's Joker. And I actually just watched The Dark Knight
Oh, actually, you know what's funny?
earlier this week.
I was thinking about it. I actually bought when it was on Blu-ray. I bought the trilogy set, like with the Blu-ray and I don't even know if I still have it. I'm pretty sure I do. But I remember it was like this massive case and it like had all the behind the scenes and all this stuff. I was like, now I understand for you, like Batman as a whole, like depending on which version. I know you're not a big fan of Christian Bale. I know you're not.
I don't think he makes a bad Batman. I don't like the way that he talks when he's I just don't like the like I don't like that crap. Like it's so stupid.
I was
Because
gonna,
even like he's having a normal conversation with Jim Gordon. Like it's not like he's in this moment where he's yelling at Heath Ledger's Joker to get information. He's just talking and he's like, where are they? Like it's like why are you talking like you have a dick in your mouth or something, dude? It's like I don't like it.
I was gonna say this. I understand what you mean because like, I know a lot of people will say that Michael Keaton was Batman, right? And
That's the version I love.
right, and I'm going to say this, ready? And I guarantee you're going to say, well, George Clooney can go suck a dick because him and Val Kilmer.
He can go rub his bat nipple somewhere else.
I mean, so the thing is I know with Val Kilmer, like I understand he just did the one-off and whatever, but yeah, it definitely, in my opinion, was not even close to being Batman at all. I mean, when you're looking at all the other ones, and especially like Adam West, Adam West, sure. You know what? I'll give him the credit. I mean, when you look at his costume, I mean, I get it was the 60s, but goddamn. Like it is what it is.
I honestly think that Ben Affleck got the worst setup to be Batman.
Well,
because
of
he
all that
suffered
shit.
from bad writing,
Yep.
Bad movie making, and his Batman never really got the opportunity to be Batman. Like when we first see Ben Affleck's Batman, he's already lived a whole life as Batman,
Right,
and now we're seeing him like at a point where he's like
old man Batman at this point. But yeah.
Anyways, not talking about Batman here, but Heath Ledger's Joker. Like as soon as we see him,
I know,
in that role, one, you don't even recognize Heath Ledger.
No.
When he has all of the makeup and he's in the movie, like when I rewatched this movie, I was trying to look at him to see if I could see Heath Ledger.
I mean, even the beginning, I think it's actually one of the very first scenes. Like he's like in the bank robbery.
Yeah.
And he puts the mask on. He's like, okay, yeah, we're going to go over here. And then he's like, bam. And then you see him take his mask off and then you're looking at him and you're like, oh shit. I mean, when you first saw that, you definitely didn't know what the fuck was going on, but yeah.
Yeah. And and then you see him like a few scenes later and he's like, right before the pencil scene.
Oh, that's my favorite. And that's my fucking favorite.
You just hear him doing the he ho 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 he, that weird laugh that he does, but it's like that voice, the mannerisms, like when he's licking the scars. He's constantly changing the story. I think he says it like 3 or 4 times of how he got the scars. And, in the movie, he's like, you want to know how I got these scars? And he's like, one of them was like, his girlfriend told him like he never smiled. So he cut his, he cut his self open.
Right. Then didn't he say something about his mother or something? Like
his father, like
that's what
one story was his father, but it's like he keeps telling different stories, and just the intensity that he had with it was just so freaking awesome.
I mean, I will say this: I can't do it now. I mean, I'll probably do it for you later, Matt. But like, I actually did an impression of Heath Ledger's Joker at one point, and I was so good at it that people looked at me and said they actually started getting freaked out by it, by the fact that I was actually like just doing not so much the mannerisms, but like getting the voice down and like getting the so I can't I have to like kind of watch the scene, but like yeah, I was like doing it almost exactly, and they're like, "That's fucking creepy," and I'm like, "Well, I mean that was Heath Ledger for you because he even like I remember there was an interview with him, like he was wicked into the character because he had to be as psychopathic
Well, and
and everything else about him.
he locked himself in a hotel room where he basically just took this role and just lived
Right,
like
as
in
him.
this like by himself in this hotel room. Like he never left the room. All he did was he was just the Joker. And
He really that was the thing about like when people played this character because like I know we'll probably talk about him later, but like you know I'm just throwing an example, but like Jared Leto's Joker or other like they had to live that role, but like Heath really took it to another level, and I think
right.
that's what really made him be probably the best. But I would say the only other one I would say is close, but it was a little weird was um why am I drawing a blank? Oh, Jack Nicholson. Like I would say besides that, like those would be like the only two that I would say like kind of like really got into that role and did all that. But
I mean, Heath Ledger actually won an Oscar for that role.
right, but well, actually, it was right after. Yeah, unfortunately, he passed
Oh,
away right after that. But
yeah.
yeah, no, and I agree with you. Like I said, I mean, we all know that you and I have talked about it before. But like, if we're talking about a live action, like yes, I would say Heath Ledger has definitely made it very hard to really recreate that same.
He's the
expressions.
benchmark. I think when you look at live action Jokers, he's the benchmark, and that's I mean that's Hall of Fame shit right there. Like
No, I agree. Absolutely, because like I said, if we were just talking about the voice, I would say Mark Hamill all day. If anyone wants to fight me on that, by all means, because I'm tell you, you look at everybody else that's done the voice of Joker, you can't tell me that Mark Hamill isn't probably the best of all time.
unfortunately, he just doesn't look.
I know he doesn't look like him. I know he doesn't look like him, but he does. I mean, if you're just talking about the voice, absolutely,
Yeah.
you cannot fight me on that one. That's all I'm going to say.
Anyways, number 3, John.
Oh, this is a good one. This is actually, you know what? We are going to talk about this at some point, but just, of course, today and then, this next time. But the number 3 spot for me, ready? Pokemon.
Pokemon!
Pokemon! I got to get me my Pokemon cards. Matt's like, shit. All right. He's like, I'm not going to say shit for this one. No, I would say that the reason why Pokemon, right? So I know Matt's like, yeah, fuck him. I don't give a shit about this. But, for me, like, especially being a kid, like, this was definitely something that I grew up much a part of, and I know Matt's like, I didn't do any of this shit, so shut the fuck up. So, Pokemon wasn't just like a successful video game, franchise. Like, it invaded basically every part of, I guess it depends on the person's childhood, but I know my childhood especially. But games like the trading cards. There's of course anime. There's movies. There's toys, collectibles. I mean, Matt was joking about my Pikachu over here. I'm not going to say what he was saying about it, but I'm just saying like I have a lot of that stuff too. And Matt's like, shut the fuck up and get to the point.
I get it.
No, I mean,
Pokemon penetrated your childhood.
okay,
I get it.
you know what? Shut the fuck up, man. Shut up. God damn it. Anyways, so like somehow, decades later, we're all still fucking here, right? It's all there. Like it's still here. It's not really gonna go anywhere. But like, what made basically Pokemon special is like for me anyways, is that we grew up in this like during Pokemania kind of phase where it's like the red and blue and yellow versions of Pokemon, especially in the beginning. Like those were iconic games on the Game Boy, especially like I would not so much the original Game Boy, but the Game Boy Color and like Game Boy Advance and stuff like that. But like, of course, with the trading cards and the the anime, the anime I loved watching. I still watch it technically, and I'm still like, fascinated by it, and I still watch it with my son. So I'm like trying to get him into it. So, and of course with like Pokemon cards in general, I do collect them. That's just me. I know Matt says I don't really give a shit because I don't really care about that, but I'm only joking, I know. But I mean, so the other big thing is like Charizard cards, right? So you have Charizard and you have like some of these other ones like Pikachu and Gengar and stuff. I mean, the I'm gonna say this, Matt, the highest selling Pokemon card ever, pretty much ever. Ready? It sold for about $16.1 million. That's, I mean, in my opinion, that's fucking insane.
That's
You don't,
absurd.
but that's again $16.1 million. Okay, that for one card. Okay, and I was surprised too because I know a while back it was only like a few million, but the fact that it was 16, I was like, oh my god. But again, you're talking cards that you like. Honestly, back in the day, like the point of these cards were meant to be played. You know, just like Magic or I would say maybe D&D or it's like some of these other like cards that you would use and like to be able to play. And so Pokemon started out like that, but then people realized that once it became bigger and bigger and bigger, that they're like maybe we should keep on to this shit and try to collect it just like back in the day where we're talking like action figures, right? So we're talking like the original like Star Wars, like action figures or like some of these high like Transformers and other other things back in the day. So in this case, I would say that there are very few geek franchises that have like a certain generational like staying power because like there's very few that you know you basically like myself, right? You have adults who grew up on this, introducing Pokemon to their own kids or like stuff like that. I'm not saying that you can't say like Transformers or I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head or like even like well, I mean, I can't say really Marvel because that's not really the case. I mean, besides comics, but I would say like there are very few, right? That or like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Like there's very few like that where you watched it as a kid and now you're like, hey, let me show you what let's say Donatello or Raphael or whatever. And for this, it's like it's still going on. I mean, it's going on. God, what 30 years technically? This year. So like that's another thing we'll be talking about later is that we do have a Pokemon episode, which all I'm gonna say is that Matt may or may not be excited about is all I'm gonna say. He might be like, yeah, you're doing that fucking episode by yourself. Have a good time. Um no, but like all I'm saying is like even if you didn't really know who like Pokemon in general, like Pikachu is definitely one of the ones that is probably one of the most recognizable fictional characters on the planet. And it's crazy that there's one character like, and I can mention other names, but I know Matt at least knows of Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
You're right, but you know that, but like, and especially like there are actual Pokemon characters that are actually in other video games. So like example, I'm thinking of like Super Smash Bros. Guess what? Pikachu was in that game. But like but it had nothing to do with Nintendo. Well, actually, no. No. Let me rephrase that. It had all to do with Nintendo because that's where it came from. But no, it's just you just recognize them whether you live on a rock or not. I mean, you at least heard of some of these names. And the only thing that's crazy about this, Matt, I'm going to say this real quick, is that of course, one of the most, in my opinion, one of the most iconic like theme songs, especially like in the very original Pokemon series, it's the "Gotta Catch 'Em All" right in the beginning, and it was like "I wanna be," and like he would, and it was like a full on song, okay, but like
Well, that was like most of the 80s
no, I know, but this was like we're
cartoons that
talking
had like a
'90s originally, but or sorry, late '90s, early 2000s, but this one you just hear it and it's like it brought me back at first, but like here's the shitty part, right? So the original started out with 151 like Pokemon, okay? Now there's over 1,000, right? And so this is probably the part I started laughing at was, fuck you, I'm trying to catch them all, god damn it, but god damn, there's so many you're coming out with every fucking year. No, it's just to me like there's not many I would say franchises or series or I mean cuz like all of this is like in one. Like once you mention Pokemon, it's not just a game, it's not just the trading cards, it's not an anime, it's not just the movies, the toys, all this stuff. Like it's everything. Like there's very few that do all of that.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's either one or like a couple maybe, but not all of this shit. I mean, this is like I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Japan actually opened up a Pokemon like amusement park. Like that's how That's how big this thing got. And I mean, it's still going on, like I said. But in my opinion, not Matt's, I would say Pokemon is definitely a Hall of Fame because of how much it impacted, especially with the generations. But that's just me.
Okay.
He's like,
So we have our number 4. And I think if we go through these real quick so we can get to
yeah, Hall of Shame. Yeah, I know.
the Hall of Shame, which Hall of Shame I'll probably we can do more brief.
That's fine.
More brief descriptions. But so yeah, my number 4 for Hall of Fame before you say yours and then we move on to the Hall of Shame is Mel Brooks. The dude's 100.
Which is insane.
He's 100 years old. And they're making Spaceballs 2.
And they decided to make a whole MCU timeline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this guy gets parody way better than I think like most directors do. I mean, the Zucker brothers, yes, they've made some really good ones too. But Mel Brooks is just like he's on another level.
I hope that he writes everything down so that whoever the next director could be, like, who basically takes the mantle of parody.
If there was anybody that I would want their consciousness to be uploaded, it's his.
No, you know what? I agree. I mean, because like all the shit, I mean, Blazing Saddles, man.
I mean, you have Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, History of the World, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Like, that was one of my favorites, too.
I mean,
and Spaceballs.
Well, right. And I mean, I know that people are like, well, who's this guy and what has he done? I mean, he's made, when we're talking about actors too, like Gene Wilder definitely got a good start from Mel Brooks. I mean, he was in Willy Wonka and he was in a few other movies, of course, but like he starred in quite a few of them.
Yeah. And Mel Brooks was one of those guys that like, he understands the culture. He understands society. His comedy is so smart and so stupid, but it also pushed boundaries.
And what I mean is when we're talking...
You could not do a remake of Blazing Saddles today.
Absolutely not. That's probably one of the most racist movies you'd ever find.
It would be a completely different movie. And now, I mean, yes, now we're just like, well, let's make a comedy movie. And all you do is you make it raunchy and hope that everybody likes it. But we're so afraid of like, even comedians like going up and doing their stand-up routines. Like they have this fear that what they're doing is going to be super, like they're going to offend people and they're going to lose fans. And Mel Brooks, like he just makes the joke. Like,
well, let me put it this way. He didn't give a shit.
No
matter what.
He just... No matter what it was, he just pulled it right out and was like, "There it is."
I mean, literally, the man. I'm telling you, I don't know if you're going to find another Godfather or parody anytime soon because this man has his own Mount Rushmore on by himself. Like he needs to be on like basically like Mount Everest by himself. Like there's very few people that I could say that has done, even though he's like, yes, he's done I would say a fair amount of movies, but not like hundreds of movies, but like it made it special because even though they were only so many movies that he did, they were so iconic that people still talk about it to this day.
Right. I mean, they're doing a Spaceballs too.
I mean, and like I said, I mean, now he's like, yeah, after so many fucking years, but I mean, but it's just, it's hilarious because a guy who's almost basically 100 is still creating shit and he's still functional for the most part.
And he's still hilarious.
Right. And he hasn't changed.
Yeah. I believe for Spaceballs 2, Josh Gad was the actual one that went to him with the story.
Right.
And then Mel Brooks was like, "This is awesome."
Well, because originally, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Gad's daughter was because I guess he was talking with his daughter about like Spaceballs, and then it like somehow came to be, and I guess that's probably what caused the chain reaction there. But yeah. I mean,
because Mel Brooks generally like he does not make other people's movies. No. Like when he makes these movies, these are his ideas. So for Josh Gad to be like, "Hey, I have this idea for a sequel to Spaceballs. Take a look at it," and him going, "Yeah, let's do it," is like pretty huge.
No, especially where Josh Gad is. I mean, he's still, I would say a relatively, I wouldn't say like the biggest star, but definitely well known. But like the fact that he was able to do that and still make this movie, and especially at
He does more producing and directing and writing than I think he does acting, but he does do some acting.
who
Josh Gad.
I thought, well, no, I mean, well, if you think about like voice acting, he's done like Frozen, of course, but
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, and recently I think he's done more of like producing and directing and that kind of like that end of it than he has been like in front of the camera.
right. Well, yeah, I would say more of.
I mean, he was in Wonder Man, and then everybody kind of made the joke of like, where did he go? Because if you saw the show, he disappears in the show,
right.
and
No.
into some portal, and no one knows like he actually played Josh Gad in the show, like he played himself in the show.
Oh, Jesus.
But he got pushed through like this portal, and like everyone was like, "Where's Josh Gad?" Like, yeah,
No, but
it's kind of funny. But
yeah, but I mean, I agree. I can't really deny the
Yeah.
fact of
Mel
Mel Brooks
Brooks.
being by himself. So here's my last choice for the Hall of Fame, and I think this one I know you're not going to disagree with, and it is a franchise. Well, there's a couple spinoffs, but I haven't watched all of them or some of the other ones yet. But Game of Thrones. I
Okay.
mean, it
Yeah.
is a multicultural. Like I don't even know how to explain it. Like you have to watch the damn show because I know a lot of people say, "Well, there's a lot of nudity, there's a lot of this, whatever."
that's
I'm like,
half the reason you watch.
I mean,
the
that is
show.
true. That is true, right? Just like yes, and we all know how it fucking ended. Okay, I'm still putting Game of Thrones in the Hall of Fame because I refuse to pretend the ending erases what the show was at its peak. Right?
No, I mean, House
But-
of the Dragon is amazing.
Oh,
of
yeah.
a show. Like
and then
that,
they
that show's
just
so
came out with a
great.
new one. I just saw. I didn't realize it was like the Knights of something. It was something earlier.
Yeah,
than
Knights.
that.
Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, like I want to watch that too. I actually want to watch the House of Dragons. I think the next season. I just haven't watched it yet. But like when you're looking at the original show, and especially in the beginning, I mean, it is in my opinion, the very first few seasons, like it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like it's
And I think they're making one with Jon Snow. I think
As
they're
they
making
should.
they're making another like spin-off with Jon Snow.
no, I mean because. I mean, I could have mentioned like Lord of the Rings. I could have mentioned all these other things. I think with Game of Thrones, like it just transcended in a way that, sure, I will agree that the last couple seasons, yeah, they were rushed. We all know that they were rushed.
Well, they literally like burned through books.
No, I know because of that. I know, and that's
If they only took like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit,
right.
and they took what they did. I mean, the Hobbit movie is only like a few pages into that book.
Right.
They didn't just like do like
The entire book.
the whole book and then like make another one and be like, well, we have no more material, so we just can't.
No, but
It's not like the Game of Thrones books are like that small. I mean, they're right
no, they're
behind me.
huge.
They're huge fucking books, and it's like you can take little pieces of it and
Expand.
but they burned through all the material and they got to a point where they're like, well, there's no more books, so we just have to make this shit up.
And that's what they did at the very end. But yeah, no, I will say, like I said, with the first beginning part of it, like, I mean, the Red Wedding was an iconic, scene in the whole like series.
Well, and then once there were dragons in the show, I mean, it was
Right.
like, I mean, dragons.
I mean, of course, Battle of the Bastards.
What'd you call me?
Yeah, I called you a fucking bastard, you bastard. The Night King himself, Daenerys. I mean, Jon Snow. Cersei. Tyrion. Like and Ned Stark, for God's sakes. I mean, we're talking all these like people, and
And all the
different-
incest. I mean, it's great.
I mean, it's oh my god, all the incest, man, all the fucking Cersei, man, shame. Like
House of the Dragon is not any better with the incest. I'm
No,
just
it's
gonna
definitely
say
not.
it's
definitely not.
yeah, it's one of the main things. of
That's
the show.
basically well. Think about it, because they even said it. They said that they wanted to keep it pure, and you're like, you son of a bitch. You don't want anything pure. You just want some weird looking
it's
fucking
like-
child. Like
It. I'll just say, like, if you haven't seen House of the Dragon, it gets weird. I mean, it's like
it does get weird.
It's like moms and sons and
Oh, it-
cousins and
oh yeah,
yeah, it just
the first season just pretty much sums all what you just set up.
Right.
But yes, I mean it's pretty sketchy.
But it is like, I mean, I will say House of the Dragon, like, you would expect dragons, and there's a shit ton of dragons,
my
and it's
God.
so cool. Like,
Well, and then you really kind of see where, Daenerys' bloodline really comes into play. Because, like, that's where it all kind of starts. And that well before, Daenerys and all this other stuff. But, like, again, like Game of Thrones.
It's just a prime example of when you throw money into making each individual episode. And I think we actually, in a previous episode that we did, we talked about how much money it was like per episode. I don't know the number per se, but
No, but it was
it's in the it's in the millions
right.
per episode. I mean, especially House of the Dragon, where you have sometimes 2 or 3 dragons in one scene and they're fighting each other.
Right. And I mean, like I said, I mean, I would say Game of Thrones as a whole, when it comes to the franchise, and especially like some of the spinoffs and stuff, I mean, it's still going on. Like, it's not just going to stop. It's crazy to think that, like the series, and I mean, granted, of course, the books came out much earlier, but, the fact that it started in 2011 and it's still going on, and it's still been one of the biggest hits. Especially on HBO, like it's definitely up there, and I feel like it.
I think it's because it's on HBO.
Well, because if it was on any other if it was on Netflix, my God,
it would have been canceled after season 1.
Yes, and that was the thing, like where HBO really took it off and did it. I mean, it is one of its best selling franchises on there, and I think where Hall of Fame status, like I do believe that this should be up there because there's very few shows that have done what Game of Thrones has done.
Right. All right, so let's get to our Hall of Shame, and I am not going to go through these like we just did with the Hall of Fame. I felt like the Hall of Fame needs more, more explanation, more descriptive. I think as soon as we mention these, you're going to know exactly why they belong here. And so my number one, like I said, I'm not going to go through this whole fucking description because it's just, if you know, you know. And I'm talking about the weird Deadpool from X-Men Origins.
My God.
And if you just know,
you know.
I mean, you could barely call
it was not
Ryan Reynolds' character in this movie Deadpool.
No, he was not even close.
He was Wade Wilson.
Sure was.
And I would say that Ryan Reynolds in that role would have been great until you turn Deadpool into a weird shirtless science experiment with his mouth
shut.
And
basically, he's just looking at you, and he has 2 swords behind his back.
And they come out of his...
Oh, that's right. He didn't do right.
He was literally like a Deadpool Wolverine mix.
It was the weird... I would say
he had he had his katanas like coming out, and it's like... Can he not bend his arm if the katanas are up in his arm? Like, how does that work? I don't.
Yeah, I know. We just didn't know. I don't
know. But you look at Deadpool, and his thing was that he was a merc with a mouth, right?
Right.
But he doesn't have a mouth.
He can't speak at all. He's just fucking.
So how the fuck do you get a character that's a merc with a mouth when his mouth is like literally removed?
Right.
It's not even sewn shut. It's skin over it.
I know. I remember it too, and I actually picturing it, and it was weird because it almost looked like he had like fucking black eyes around his like entire eyeball, and it's like, why? Why did we do that? Why? What is going on?
I don't know. Anyways, what's your?
So my number one, ready? So this one was pretty bad, and I know they actually spoofed this in Disney. Was the original movie design of Sonic the Hedgehog?
Oh boy!
So when you looked at
you did not know the way.
No, so this, I mean, so the problem is the fact that they actually had fans complain about this, and it was the funniest thing because it was very few times in probably movie history.
He looked fucking stupid.
In the very first design that you see him, especially like the first trailer of it, like he did not.
They're like, hey, here's our new Sonic, and everyone was like,
what the
fuck is that?
Like, what is this shit? And then, so then they finally took the criticism, and they're like, maybe we should redo this. And they waited and then released another trailer, and they said, oh, well, this looks much like Sonic. And so what's funny about this is that they have parodied him. They have done all kinds of shit with him. And I know when, I think it was in Chip and Dale, the live action one on Disney, they actually showed him, and his name was like Ugly Sonic or something like that. And they actually showed him that. And it was just like, oh my God, like the fact that they put him in movies and he's just a fucking meme. I mean, he's just a living meme.
Yeah.
And just like with Deadpool, like, what the fuck were you thinking when you were doing this? Like, he does not need to have these skinny, long legs, tiny eyes, weird hands. Nothing that looked like Sonic, basically. And it was just like
Right.
some like stick figure drawing in the sense of doing it. Again, you'd have to see it, but yeah,
It's fucking stupid.
it is stupid.
So my number 2 is, and I hope I pronounce his name right, but who honestly gives a shit anyways at this point? He is a Hall of Shame. He's a director,
Oh boy,
U Bowl. And I know you probably don't know who U Bowl is.
I did
But-
not know.
He gets the rare honor of being inducted as an actual director because he has made some of the most horrendous movie adaptations of video games. So we're talking House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark. He made Blood Rain. And if you saw directed by you Bowl attached to a game that you liked, you're probably fucked. Because you're not going to like it.
This guy's just a fucking moron.
He is like, it was like, oh, we want to make this movie. Well, how about you Bowl? He makes video game adaptations.
Fuck no.
It's just, they are not great movies. They're really, really terrible. And Alone in the Dark, House of the Dead, and Blood Rain, barely you can call them video game adaptations.
I was gonna say House of the Dead. I mean, for God's sakes, it was, especially when you're in the arcades. I mean, you can't really.
You really can't fuck it up unless you give it to you Bull, and then he's like, "Hey, how can I fuck this shit up?"
Let me tell you real quick. Let me tell you my game concept here. No, even though what's our famous saying, Matt? Follow the damn blueprint.
Follow
But this
the-
motherfucker said, "Fuck you. We're not gonna do anything regarding this." Oh God.
I mean, you would expect like some level of commitment to the actual games, but
nah.
when critics are literally telling him to his face that your movies suck,
And what did he say? I'm out of curiosity.
he just fights right back.
Yeah. Well, okay, dumbass. So go ahead. Keep
It's
fighting
really,
your
really
movies.
incredible of how horrible he is as a director that makes these movies. I mean, it's not just the writing; it's the
So my question is who's the one that helped him produce these movies? Because whoever did that was a dumbass for doing that.
I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
he's the guy. He's my number 2. Hall of Shame.
So my second choice for Hall of Shame, ready? It's actually a Batman villain. Ready? It's Mr. Freeze, Arnold Schwarzenegger edition. So here's the thing, right? So when you think about it like this, right? So the fact that when Arnold's playing Mr. Freeze, like he's not really that funny, but I know it's the whole ice pun thing that he's doing.
It's the fucking one-liners, man.
It's the one he's like, oh, you say, I can't even remember all the fucking one-liners that he does. So here's my problem, right? So it's like you like it or you love it, but it's like, it's so ridiculous that it becomes entertaining again, which might actually make him the perfect Hall of Fame, nominee. And so like,
Everybody chill.
chill. And it's like, it's just weird to see him like play that role. Like, I don't know. Like, I know it was back in the 90s. And of course, this is where George Clooney comes into play. But like, it's just, I don't know. Like, it's not, in my opinion, especially like villains wise, like, I know like technically Mr. Freeze, like, I think in some of the video games and like some of the animated series, like, he is like, it's not spelled like freeze. It's spelled like, what is it? Fries something or whatever. But like, I know he's like technically European, but like, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is Arnold definitely did not.
It's spelled like fries.
Fries. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant. Yeah. So like, it's not, I don't know. Like, I love Arnold as a whole, but it just, when it came to this villain, never should have played this fucking character at all.
No.
Like, literally,
That
the
was pretty
one-liners
horrible.
made it harder, and it was very hard to believe that he was actually.
I agree. I think he also comes from the same bat nipples, right?
That's what I said. Yeah, it was like George Clooney. I'm like, that doesn't help either with that cause.
All right, so my number 3, this is a TV show.
Oh boy.
And if you watched it, I know some people were like, I didn't mind it. That's because you're an idiot. But my number 3 nomination is a Star Wars show, which can barely be called Star Wars: The Acolyte.
See, I knew Matt was going to throw this in there because his fucking obsession with this show is all I got to
But
say.
It's the thing. I mean, this show pisses me off on a level because this should have been an easy win. You give me Star Wars, you're giving me something outside of the Skywalker era, which is I have said this before, like not everything has to be in this Skywalker saga.
Correct.
Show me the Jedi, show me Sith in a completely different period of time. Like give me something that doesn't connect to Tatooine every 15 minutes, right? Like
Or what was the thing about it? Lesbian, what was your famous
lesbian
quote?
space witches, yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
But like we got a show that had some interesting pieces, had maybe some interesting characters, but like when you make, and maybe this is like my little rant, but when you start playing with Jedi history, Sith history, actual Star Wars mythology and lore with established characters, that story needs to be fucking spot on. And Leslie Headland, who made this show,
I knew you were going to bring her up so bad.
she hired writers who purposefully did not even know what Star Wars was. Like that was the hiring process of, do you know what Star Wars is? No,
No, I
what's
did not.
Star Wars? You're hired. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, you
Like,
get him.
I don't understand how you do a Star Wars show with writers that don't know Star. Like they're writing as they're watching Star Wars. That it can't happen.
No, and it doesn't
And
make
you
any
also
fucking
have
sense.
a $280 million show that looked like a $5 show. You know what I mean? Like the set design, the writing, it just was awful from the get-go. But you also show Yoda at the very, very end, like he's trapped in a closet.
Oh,
Like
God.
literally he's like in this small, tiny little room. And it's like, like when your kid's still kind of young, but like your child messes up.
Right.
And then that mess up becomes a bigger fuck up.
Oh, yeah.
And then now they come to you and they go, yeah, we fucked it up. That was what happened in the show. Like Yoda wasn't present the whole fucking time. Like he wasn't there the whole time. And all of a sudden at the end of the show, they're like, yeah, I think we fucked up.
You don't say.
And you do these like weird, these characters that should be iconic. Like they show Pelagus in there. And if you know anything about Pelagus, he's not like this weird, creepy pedophile who's hiding in a cave, spying on two people kissing. Like his alien race was part of the banking clan. So he's a prominent figure, not
Right.
just like this huge Sith, lord. He's a prominent figure, but in this show, he's hiding in a fucking cave watching two people make out.
Fucking stucker.
Fucking sicko. But this show, and I'm done here, but this show it's just a waste of Star Wars. And it should never have happened.
And
Especially when you take Leslie Headland
Yeah.
and some of the female actors that were leads in the show, and they actually do interviews saying, this show is not made for you. It's not made for Star Wars fans. This is just for us.
Well, Matt, what would you like to say to Leslie Headland if you ever got a chance to see her?
I don't think I could say that on here.
You sure? I thought you would have said, fuck you, fuck this, and don't even.
Oh,
think
I would
about it.
definitely say that, but there would be other words.
Yeah, I figured there would be. Anyways, yeah, so my number 3 choice right here is, I don't think you actually played this game, but I did play it, and I actually played it with my dad, which I know he'll get a kick out of if he ever listens to this, is Skull and Bones. Okay, it was a game. So here's the problem with this, right? So Ubisoft made the goddamn game, right? They already had a fucking blueprint, okay? Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Originally, what they would have done is what we originally thought is Skull and Bones would have been like a remake of Black Flag. No, not even fucking close. You play this fucking game, ready? And it feels like I'm playing as the fucking boat. Because I'm not kidding, man. I'm not kidding. So my dad and I had this joke where we're sitting there and it's like, hey, you want to play a game? And I'm like, yeah, let's play it. And so I showed him Skull and Bones. And of course, I paid full fucking price for it. And he did too. And we're playing the game. And all you really do is actually go after different ships. And you can get off the boat and go explore a little bit, but it's only to talk to a merchant to buy shit so you can keep blowing up other fucking ships. It has nothing to do with, like, for
So
example...
it's basically like a ship simulator.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was stupid because, like, I remember back in the day they had Pirates of the Caribbean, the game, and, like, you could do so much in that fucking game. Get off, talk to people, do all this other stuff. They didn't even make it anywhere close to that. I mean, literally, it was... This is the best part, right? So the Ubisoft CEO here, right? His name is, I'm going to guess here, but Ves Guillemot. He described it as a quadruple A game while defending the premium price, right? And so you added another fucking A. Let's start with that. And now I'm definitely holding you to it because when your own pirate game from more than a decade earlier arguably delivers more of a pirate fantasy, something went wrong. Because it's sad that Black Flag, you know, it like gave us sailing, naval combat, ship upgrades, boarding enemy ships, like all this other shit, right? But again, here's another thing. It also reminds me of is the fact that it was kind of like Dead Island 2, right? So Dead Island 2, if you didn't know, like it was originally supposed to come out much earlier. So they put a fucking trailer for it, and then they waited like 8-9 years later to then finally drop the game. So this one, right? It was announced in 2017, okay? And it didn't finally release until 2024. So similar to basically what they fucking did. And then after all those years, you know, Ubisoft, you know, to take all this work that they've done on Black Flag, and then they were supposed to build this ultimate pirate experience. Instead, no, the game focuses so heavily on the ship that sometimes I don't even feel like I'm playing as a fucking pirate. Right? Because you're not a fucking pirate. Like I just said, you're playing as the fucking boat. There is no like in between. There's not like a whole lot of missions that you're doing, but all it is like you're traveling from one spot to the other. And guess what? There's no such thing as fast travel in this game. So you're basically sailing along the seas and praying to God. It was like, oh, I got another ship battle. Oh, got to loot their shit and then keep upgrading your boat. I'm like, so what the fuck is the point of this game? I'm like, yep. And what Matt said, a ship simulator. That is all you're fucking playing. So yes, this one definitely, in my opinion, deserves to be on the fucking Hall of Shame for sure.
Right. I have another Joker on my list.
Oh,
He is
boy.
my last Hall of Shame. And as soon as they posted a picture of Jared Leto
Oh boy, I know.
as the Joker, what the fuck is this instantly came out of my mouth because it was like, hey, here's Jared Leto as our Joker in Suicide Squad. What the fuck are we doing here? Like, why does he look like, and when I say gangster, I'm not talking about Jack Nicholson's gangster. I'm talking like you take a person who maybe be like my age.
Yep.
And you make him look like a mumble rapper.
Yep.
With face tattoos, gold grill, driving this ridiculous purple Lamborghini. He has damage tattooed across his fucking forehead.
I know exactly where you're going with this too. That's the worst part, but go ahead.
It's like you asked a Hot Topic employee to redesign the Joker. Like, hey, what would make a great Joker? And they're like, here you go. Here's my drawing.
It's what he's supposed to look like, this piece of shit, but here you go.
The problem is, like, Leto can act.
Oh, he's a great actor.
He's a great actor. And it makes this nomination, like, even worse because it wasn't some random actor who couldn't perform the role. This was the entire interpretation and every creative decision between how he looked, the writing. I mean, even how much he was supposed to be the villain in that movie.
Right. And
they cut most of his scenes. When you look at the Joker, it's not this.
No.
I can guarantee that. This is the worst.
No, I agree.
It's even worse than the Cesar Romano. And he was the one in the Adam West.
The original. But yeah, and the worst part was he didn't ever want to shave his fucking mustache out because it was like his iconic look. And so what they did was put fucking makeup over it. It still didn't fucking make a difference.
No.
But anyways, we're not going to go that far. But yes, my final choice for the Hall of Shame, and it's actually a console, believe it or not. Nintendo Wii U. Okay, and Matt's like, huh? So yes, of course they made the Wii back in the day, but now you have basically, instead of just the Wii, it's you. Okay, so here's the weird thing, right? It's not that I don't actually think that the Wii U was terrible. It's not why it's here. It's because the Nintendo completely fucked up explaining why anyone needed one. Okay, so the name alone created problems. You know, Wii U. You know, hardcore gamers understood it was the next Nintendo console, but plenty of casual consumers thought the gamepad was kind of an accessory for the Wii. That's a slight fucking problem when you're trying to sell new hardware, right? So the Nintendo released the Switch, and suddenly a lot of ideas they were experimenting with basically made more sense, right? So the Switch basically walked into Nintendo headquarters, looked at the Wii U, and said, "Don't worry, I understand what you're trying to do. Good games, interesting ideas, terrible overall execution." So, like, you know, with the Wii U, it was like the way they were marketing it. It had nothing to do with the fact that it wasn't trying to sell well or this and that. It's just I think the concept of the game or like the console, it just didn't really do well with a lot of people. And so like when you're looking at the Nintendo Switch, yes, it like literally made the most sense because like it's a literally a handheld console, but also could be played as like an actual console, like if you were playing on the GameCube or whatever. You look at the fucking Wii U, and it's like they decided to kind of make it similar to the original Wii, and then they're like, "Oh well, here's this little gamepad thing that you just need to play on, and that's how you play the games." And you go, "What the fuck are we doing here? Like, why is this?" It's like probably some of the other gaming consoles they did back in the day, like the Atari like Jaguar, or some weird gaming system like that. Because I don't know. Basically what I'm saying is you know not all game consoles are great, right? So like when
Right.
you look at you know when the PS5 came out and especially the new Xbox Series S and X or whatever, they were joking about how the fact that the PlayStation 5 looked like a Wi-Fi modem, you know, or the router, and then like they called the new Xbox basically a was it a mini fridge because that was the way it looked like. So I don't know. I'm just saying, in my opinion, with the Wii, honestly, I understand the whole idea behind it, but I just don't think it really made any sense because, like I said, the Switch has done so much better, makes more sense, and just basically makes this whole thing where um, the Wii just should have never existed. I mean, they should have just came out with the Switch a long time ago because it actually makes the most sense, especially now where you know I would think at some point you know PlayStation's probably going to find a way to do that, and Xbox. I mean, they did do like the PlayStation Portable and stuff like that, but again, whatever. That's just you know that's just my opinion. But anyways, yeah, that would be my last pick of the Hall of Shame.
Yeah, I never really played a Wii U. I mean, I had a Wii,
Well, no, I know, but
but
I'm just saying like the Wii U. I mean,
um,
it looks. I know it looks.
I
Stupid.
just think it's funny that when it was released, it was supposed to be along with these eighth generation consoles, which
Right.
the eighth generation consoles were PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
There's no fucking way.
And so you're looking at this, and it's like, I mean, there was barely no backwards compatibility.
Right. So even though you had a Wii, you couldn't play any of the Wii U at this point.
And yeah, I'm sure it had HD graphics, but it also had like a 3-hour battery.
so think about it like this, right? So hold on. So let's put it this way, right? So PlayStation already had Blu-ray technology by the PS3, right? And then of course with Xbox, I mean, they finally got Blu-ray and all this other stuff like in the newest one that they have. But like the fact that you're talking about a Wii U trying to compete with the PS4 and the Xbox One,
Right.
there's no fucking way that would have ever. It should have never came out. I think they should have just stuck with the Wii for a while, updated it a little bit more, or work on the Switch, and just done it like
Well,
that.
I mean, ultimately they discontinued it when they were planning the Switch and when the Switch actually came out. I mean, it's discontinued now.
Well, absolutely. There's no reason why it
Um,
should be out.
But I mean, what I'm reading here, like New York Times only really had one game worth playing, which was Super Mario 3D World.
Right.
And basically, one great game won't save the console.
No, absolutely fucking not. I mean, like when you look at PlayStation and Xbox One at that time, there was a lot of games that it was keeping up with everything else. The Wii, no fucking way. I mean, the one thing that the Wii did better than, like like back in the day, I think Xbox had that. It's like that camera, and I remember PlayStation had it too, where like it was like you could play games with like a certain like controller or whatever.
Yeah,
but like we honestly made it.
It sensed your movement,
right? But we made that easier and made the most sense. The other two they fucking failed because I remember playing it on the Xbox and I remember playing it on the PlayStation too. And it just didn't do as well. But like when the Wii came out with that, when they were like sensing the motion, like it was great. But like I said, like you're saying, like the fact that it was competing with all these other consoles at the time, I'm surprised you even made the fucking console. And especially, when you're looking at PlayStation and Xbox during that time, Nintendo, I was like, Nintendo, you just wanted to say, hey, you know what? Let's just make this shit console real quick. I mean, fuck, I would have been fine with like a GameCube. Like if they remastered the GameCube or something like that and they just say, there you go, there's your console. That would have done better than the fucking what they had. I know for that, fact of it. But anyways, so I know, we've talked a lot about our Hall of Fame and Hall of Shame here.
It was the
what's that?
Xbox Connect.
That's what it was.
Yes,
I remember that. Yeah, that was. Oh my god, that was shit. I can't remember how long ago that was. I think it was on the Xbox 360.
And then people were using it to try to detect ghosts because what it would do is the little lens would throw these green dots.
Yeah, it was like orb. Yeah,
it was almost a grid. It would show like all of these green dots, like your whole, like your walls, everything. It was like green space,
right?
And supposedly, if there were ghosts, you would see the movement in the little dots. But
right,
whatever.
Right, yeah.
I actually had a Connect.
I figured you did.
I did.
I remember, like I said, I know the PlayStation had their own version. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but they did have like a camera, and I do remember having it. I think it was on the PS2. I don't know. I don't think they had it on the PS3, but I know on the PS2 they did. And I did play around a little bit, but it was a little fucking weird. Not gonna lie.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So going on here, because we're just trying to wrap things up, is that with our Hall of Fame and our Hall of Shame, right, is officially in our books. We've honored some legitimate legends. Reopened some old wounds. Reminded everybody that Deadpool once had his fucking mouth sewn shut, and somehow Sonic's original human teeth have returned to haunt all of us. Okay, so yeah, and I think that's what makes everything work here, right? Hall of Fame doesn't necessarily mean perfect, and Hall of Fame doesn't necessarily mean the worst thing we've ever created, but it's about what deserves to be remembered. So now we hand this over to everybody listening, right? So what do you think about our nominations? Like, what did we get right? What did we get wrong? Which ones are complete bullshit? What did we leave out? And most importantly, which one of us had the better fucking ballot? I don't know if we can really say like who had the better choices. I mean, I would say I think both of us can agree that we definitely did have some good ones, and yeah, maybe there was ones that were like, whatever. We're just kind of putting it in there. But again, we already know the answer, so. It was me. It was fine. No, he's like, and shut the fuck up. No, but yeah, I mean, let us know. Let us know what you guys think. But it's up to you, man. You want to close this out? Or you want me to close it out?
I just close it out, buddy.
All right. So again, we appreciate everything you guys do. I mean, next week's episode, let's just say we're going to be talking a lot about Marvel. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, boys and girls.
We're geeks from the multiverse.